Johannes Studinger is head of the media and entertainment sector of UNI Global Union since August of 2009. Representing 140 unions and guilds in the media, entertainment, and arts worldwide. Prior to his present position, Johannes held the positions of Deputy Director of UNI-MEI Global Union since September of 1999. Before joining the international labor movement, he worked with the Secretariat General of the European Commission, Graham Watson, member of European Parliament, and the Brussels office of the Friedrich Naumann Foundation. Johannes holds a Master in Politics and International Relations, and he's my friend, and he's been extremely helpful to the IATSE in our global efforts. Please give a warm IA welcome to Johannes Studinger.
Dear President Loeb, dear General Secretary Treasurer Wood, dear members of the Executive Board, dear delegates and guests, dear brothers and sisters, I'm very happy and grateful for having this opportunity to address you all today here in this beautiful city, Boston, Boston strong. My first words are congratulations to the elections to the entire board. And second, I'd like to thank President Loeb for his kind invitation. I'd also like to thank the Boston locals for their hospitality here that I have been privileged to enjoy. And I'd like to thank all of you for having me here again after I spoke the first time to convention in Orlando 4 years back. I've learned a great deal in these 4 days. I've been listening to you in the debates here in the convention, but also in the caucuses. And I have to say that your individual and collective commitment to defend your fellow workers, your strength, your solidarity, your unity, your mutual endeavor, and everything you have achieved in the last 4 years is truly inspiring to me. I bring you today the fraternal greetings of the General Secretary of Global Union, Philip Jennings. UNI, that's 900 unions representing over 20 million workers in the services industry around the globe. It's our global family that combines the strengths of all of you to raise standards and rights for workers across the globe to address inequalities and confront multinational employers with a united voice. Philip cannot be today with us, but he asked me to convey his thanks to you, Matt, for your commitment, your leadership as a member of the UNI World Executive Board. Your support and leadership means a great deal to him and indeed to the entire UNI family. And if I may add my thanks personally to Matt as well. He's a vice president of UNI-MEI. He is tirelessly with us when we need him. He brings the strength of the IA to the global fight that all unions in the media and entertainment world face. Every single time when I need him, I get a response immediately. He tells me whether he can or cannot. But most of the time, he can, and he makes it happen. Sometimes I wonder myself, and I'm amazed how Matt, with all his responsibility with you guys, still finds time to do all that. Well, thanks to Mike Miller, now I know. In 4 days, he goes from New York to Japan, goes back to New York, and then goes to California to fight for you guys. Matt, it's incredible how you do this. Thank you. It's good to see that despite all the challenges and fights that you have told about in these days, and I learned of, that IA is growing in number and in strength. And I'm proud to say that it's the same truth for the global union movement in the media entertainment industry. UNI-MEI today, it's 140 unions and represents about 400,000 workers. There are many reasons to that. but two to me are very key. It's organizing and mutual endeavor. In 2009, the UNI-MEI World Executive, under the leadership of Bektu and the IA, adopted a strategic plan which put the first priority on organizing. All members of UNI-MEI across the world committed to put organizing first and to assist each other whenever possible in organizing campaigns. In the same year, we set up an organizing fund within UNI that enables to help smaller or new unions to grow and run organizing campaigns. With the support of this fund, with the support of strong unions, with your support, we have been able to grow unions in a couple of places. Just to give you a few examples. In Argentina, where we have several affiliates in the sector, after we have set those strategic plan priorities, the unions got together and decided to put organizing first and target multinational employers. Today, our sisters and brothers in Argentina do have representation with Disney-owned and News Corp-owned companies and do have collective agreements. In Uruguay, through the fund, we were able to get other funds that enabled us to carry out a 3-year capacity project with film production unions across Latin America. One of these unions, a very small union in Uruguay, a very small country with very low production, has fought for many years to get a collective agreement but was unsuccessful. Thanks to the combined effort of affiliates and with the fund, today they have a collective agreement. In Asia, right now, with the fund and with your help, we are helping unions to grow in India, Malaysia, and in Hong Kong. In Malaysia alone, in the last 16 months, we have set up 4 new unions in 3 broadcasting houses and 1 film production company. So yes, the global, thank you. So yes, the global family of media and entertainment unions is growing in strength and in numbers. We should be proud of that, but as many speakers before me have emphasized, we face huge challenges. There are many, and today I would like just to focus on 2 of them. One is the relentless attack against organized labor and working families, and the other one is piracy. The attack against organized labor and working families reflects the greed and lack of responsibility of some of the economic elite. These folks have decided that the new attitude and mantra is no limits, no equality of opportunities. Some of these companies with their deep pockets of lobby money go around countries and regions around the world to get legislation that makes it harder to organize, represent, and collectively bargain for workers. In the political debates, unions are often portrayed as old stuff, responsible for unemployment, a barrier for change and growth. What you face in Canada and the United States with legislation, right-to-work legislation and similar legislation, other unions and workers face similar challenges around the world in way too many countries. For instance, in my home continent, Europe, conservative governments who 1 year ago hoped that Mitt Romney would win, they drive austerity policies that disguise frontal attacks on collective bargaining and trade union rights. Take Greece, for example. Since 2009, an emerging law prevents all forms of collective bargaining. In Germany, my home country, low-wage jobs are hailed as the solution for a flexible labor market. And in general, in Europe, social security nets, where Europeans are right to be proud of, are attacked and labeled as a cost factor for hampering the growth and profits. Benefits are cut, contributions are raised, and qualification for health and pension schemes are made more difficult for the most vulnerable workers, for instance, freelance workers. Our opponents are organized, single-minded, and they are connected across countries. They want to drive down the ability of workers to fight for a fair share in order to shift more costs and burdens to the working people wherever they employ. They want to make the labor movement irrelevant on a global scale. So, colleagues, in this fight we are together. It's a global fight. Those guys who take you on here in the US and Canada, they take us on all over the world wherever they employ. This is a joint fight and we stick together. Surely organizing is the best and effective answer to counter these attacks. But we can do other stuff. I just want to highlight two here. You took resolutions on free trade agreements. Free trade agreements might indeed be used by business interests to weaken workers' rights or to lower intellectual property rights of our fellow colleagues. So we need to pull unions together from different countries that are concerned by these agreements and work together in order to inform our affiliates about the stakes, to ensure that there is transparency of negotiations, and that you all have a voice in those negotiations. UNI-MEI is happy to work and to continue to work with the IAEA and other sister organizations in the process of those agreements and to help you to achieve what you have adopted in resolutions this week. When it comes to multinational employers, we need to confront them with a united voice and demand that wherever they operate, that they need to respect the dignity and the rights of workers, including the access to unions. In many countries, that's the most single important thing we can achieve together as a global labor movement. We have started together with Matt and colleagues in our executive in 2010 to do something about that. We have started to negotiate what we call global framework agreements. We have signed so far four global framework agreements with multinational media companies and associations. These agreements are not negotiated by myself, but by the affiliates that have stakes in those companies. These agreements do not interfere with your national agreements, of course, and their scope is limited to commit the companies to union neutrality and to recognize the value of good faith structured labor relations. It's a soft policy, okay, but what it does, it provides in those companies and in the environment they operate diffusion of a pro-labor culture, a pro-union culture, and helps us in our organizing drives. Last year we signed an agreement with the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union. It's not a trade union, it's a union of broadcasting companies across the Asia, and a big association where they committed to union neutrality. And it doesn't mean that now unions have an easy walk in all those broadcasting organizations, but it does help them. We have now, after we signed that, already achievements in Thailand and in Malaysia, as I reported before, where thanks to these agreements, employers are now easier to talk to and unions have an easier way in. It also enables us to put forward some common concerns like health and safety and develop joint projects with those employers. So we just started with the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, a joint project on health and safety for media workers in hazard zones. And we are looking forward to develop that, and we know that that will bring benefits to sisters and brothers. Now let me say a few words to the second challenge I wanted to mention, and that's the piracy or digital theft. It's no coincidence that Sister Christine Bond, president of BECTU, mentioned that as well. This, again, is a global fight. And in 2009, when I spoke to you, I committed that I will make that a priority when I become head of UNI-MEI Global Union. I pledge support to IA's priorities. We have done a great deal. We have gotten beaten a little bit sometimes, but we have also changed the attitude of many people. But I want you to say you something which I truly believe is a grave danger for our industry as a whole. Today, it's not only about protecting works online distributed over the internet. Today, the attacks of our opponents go right to the principles of copyright itself. They portray copyright as a barrier to innovation, as a barrier to growth, and a threat to freedom of speech. And with that narrative, our opponents go to governments and lobby to lower copyrights by introducing exceptions and limitations. And those attacks are not isolated. They don't only happen in Washington. They happen at the EU level, they happen at national government level, they even happen at world level in the framework of the World Intellectual Property Office, and it's a real threat. So I would like to thank IA again here, and also my friends from Back2, and also the other colleagues, and not to forget DGA, who is in this with us, who worked tireless with us and continue to work tireless with us to go out, to reach to politicians and to decision makers and explain them the value of intellectual property, what it means to workers, that it helps your benefit funds, that it helps social programs in Europe and other places, and that it is vital to investment in the industry. But this fight is also an opportunity, because we have the unique chance to go to decision makers and explain to them how the industry works. I have many examples of politicians I met who had incredible ideas of how films are made and financed, and that copyright is something you can do away with and that has no consequences to you all guys. But when you sit down and you explain with the help of colleagues who come over and sit down patiently and explain to politician makers what's going on, then they stop and wait and change and think. So this is also an opportunity, and I again commit myself that we will continue this fight together, Matt. I heard the clear voice of this convention that you want to continue this fight, and we are here to do that together with you. I've worked now 4 years in this position, and with President Loeb and the IA leadership in my capacity as UNI-MEI head, and I'm personally very proud to have the privilege to work so closely with you leaders, I have to say. It has been terrific 4 years. I learned a lot. I have been mentored, I have been protected, I have been pushed as well, which is fair enough, and did me a great good deal. And I'm proud to be on Matt Loeb's team. I cannot imagine who doesn't want to be on his team, so I'm proud to be on his team. Matt, I'm grateful that you let me address some of the issues in the last 15 minutes. The leadership of IA, the leadership of Back2 is critical to our work at the global level. It's critical to the success of growing unions like you around the world, admittedly at a lower scale, but still grow them. I know I can count on President Loeb and his fellow leaders, and you can count on me as well. You're a great alliance. You are truly a great alliance. You truly have a great leadership, and with Matt, you really have a great leader. You are IA strong, and I'm looking forward to continue to work with you. I wish you all the success. I wish us all the success, and thank you again for having me here this week. Thank you very much.